Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for making time today to come and honor Daniel's life and your love for him, your friendship, to support this precious family. Those who are watching the live stream, thank you as well. Before we begin, I ask if you could take your cell phone and make sure that it is silenced. Be greatly appreciated. Thank you. If you would bow your head with me for just a moment. Lord, you gave a precious gift, a gift of life, and shared it with us all. Daniel's life is a gift that's been embraced and loved and shared and cherished and means so much to the family and friends that are here. You gave a promise that your Holy Spirit would be a comforter. We need the comfort of thy Holy Spirit upon each soul in undeniable ways. You never promised that our hearts wouldn't be troubled or broken, but you did promise we would never have to face that alone. Thank you for the family and friends that surround us and support us and help us on the difficult parts on the journey of life. We pray not just for today, but the journey that is ahead. Bless every effort, every sacrifice, every kind word, every act of comfort. And may it be a blessing to Daniel's family and friends. We ask your favor and blessing upon this day as we honor Daniel's life and his love and the memories that have been created. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. We have our first song selection, Over the Rainbow by Pink.
When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow, a highway to be found. Leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. So your troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, the birds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow, white, then why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why can't
Nick Demos, aka Body Electric, made a short video. I guess you could call it a documentary, and shared it. Give us permission to share it with you. And at this time, I direct your attention to the screen for this video.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm 22 years old. I love androgyny. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I like things that are unique. Seeing things in a different way that I didn't see them before, changing my perspective on things is really beautiful. Changing your mind is one of the best ways of knowing whether or not you still have one. Whenever I think about a person, I think about their soul. Whenever I think about myself, I think about my soul. My hope for the future is to just be completely accepted with myself and to see more advocacy for transgender people and to see more representation in the media for all transgender people. I have a voice, but I feel like it's not quite heard. A lot of trans people that are like me aren't heard as much. I am a transgender male, and I am beautiful.
Daniel Aston, 28, passed away on November the 20th, 2022, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Born on July the 8th, 1994, to Jeff and Sabrina Aston in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Daniel, known as Delaney, went to high school at Broken Arrow High School and graduated in 2013. Daniel attended Northeastern State University in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Daniel was president of the LGBTQ club at Northeastern State University. Daniel worked as a bartender for Club Q for 2 years. Daniel enjoyed his friends and his family. He enjoyed acting, music, art, and poetry. So many of his friends expressed how he got them through rough times growing up and fitting into the complicated world we live in. He loved and respected all faiths and non-conformists. Daniel is preceded in death by grandparents Benny and Libby Davis Collins and Roy and Bonnie Aston. Daniel is survived by parents Jeff and Sabrina Aston of Colorado Springs, Colorado, brother John, wife Kate Tiger, nephews Alec Thomas and Ben Tiger of Denver, Colorado, cousins Keelan, Fiona Collins, and Caleb and Jacob Cummins, aunts and uncles Vicky and John Cummins, Benny and Judy Collins of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Bo and Terry Collins, and multiple cousins and friends. In lieu of flowers, you can give a memorial contribution to be made in Daniel's name to the Inside Out Youth Services. And you can find that link, to make it simple, on his page at the Springs Funeral Services website. That's tsfs.co. If you have not had a chance to leave a memory there, a reflection on his page, I encourage you to do so. It'll be a blessing to the family. If you have not had a chance to sign the guest book when you came in, please do so before you leave. Again, thank you for making time to be here today. At this time, I want to invite Alec to come.
I'm Alec Tiger. I'm Daniel's nephew. I'm going to read a poem that we picked out, but before I'll say a few words. When I heard the news that Daniel died, I think more than anything I felt confusion about what to feel. And being here over the past couple weeks and seeing these videos and stories about Daniel and the impacts that he made on so many lives, I think it's helped me to understand that more than anger or hate or confusion, it's love and thankfulness that I should feel. And in that way, Daniel will be with us forever. So this is a poem that we picked out. Wyatt helped me pick it out. It's by Walt Whitman, which was one of his favorites, and it was heavily annotated in his book, and it's about being passionate about life and expressing yourself, which I think is representative of Daniel. So it's called One Self I Sing by Walt Whitman. One self I sing, a simple, separate person, yet utter the word democratic, the word in mass. Of physiology from top to toe I sing, not physiognomy alone, nor brain alone is worthy for the muse. I say the form complete is worthier far. The female equally with the male I sing. Of life immense in passion, pulse and power, cheerful for the freest action formed under the laws divine, the modern man I sing. Thanks.
Alec, thank you for sharing. This time I'd like to invite Kate to come.
Hi. I'm going to start by taking a deep breath. I invite you to join me. It's been a journey for us to get up here, down here this morning from Denver. And yes, I am reading this off a computer because I could not get it printed. So just bear with me. I have some things to say. So I'm Kate. Daniel was my brother-in-law, and he was my friend. And he was a warm, loving, fun uncle to my kids. Daniel was really proud to be an uncle. If you knew him, you knew he liked that job, and he did it beautifully. He first became an uncle when he was only 5, when my stepson Alec was born, so he got an early start. He was 13 when our son Thomas was born, and then Ben came along about 6 years ago. I think he really enjoyed the responsibility of being a protector and a mentor, even when he was younger. I remember once he came to visit John and I, and he was maybe 14 years old, and I ended up getting a kidney stone out of the blue, just came on suddenly and just knocked me flat on my butt. John had to rush me to the ER, and all the kids were there, and there was no other adult that was immediately available to come stay with them. So there's Dan and like this confused 9-year-old and a toddler who's freaked out and like, here you go. And he's like, I got this, you know, and he did a great job. He took care of them. And mostly he was just so much fun and the right amount of mischievous. When Thomas was about 7, I remember we were in Oklahoma, and Daniel taught him how to play that Mafia card game. I don't know if you've played that, but Thomas was obsessed with it. For about a year after that, he tried to get everyone to play it, elderly family members, other kids. You know, I'm surprised I never got an email from his teacher about him trying to teach other kids about the mafia assassinating villagers, and, you know, but we have a lot of good memories of playing games with Daniel, just sitting around Sabrina and Jeff's kitchen table playing Clue or Uno or Exploding Kittens was a favorite. I think my son Thomas, oh, I know, I'm sorry, I know you don't like it when I talk about you, but he had a special bond with Daniel because they had a lot of the same interests. Over the years, all the stuff that Thomas was into, Dan was somehow already an expert at. You know, when he went through his Pokemon phase, Dan was like, I got you. Harry Potter, he had that. D&D, yes, you know. So even when he was grown, Daniel was such a kid at heart that he was never too busy or too grown or too important to sit down and look at Pokemon cards for an hour or talk about the Marvel universe and Marvel canon versus cinematic. And Ben was just starting to get into some of that fun stuff too, but mainly Daniel was just his favorite jungle gym. So whenever he did something that Ben liked, you know, he would have to repeat it about 50 more times because that's the way that little kids are. We were so excited when he moved to Colorado a few years ago because we got to see him so much more. He really loved being outdoors here in Colorado, and he would join us for hikes and camping trips. He was always so good with the kids, very patient and protective. There was one camping trip that we went on. We had a really rough night. Thomas got sick and threw up all over the tent. Ben didn't sleep, and we were all so cranky in the morning. I was cleaning puke out of sleeping bags, and John was chasing Ben around, and Thomas was so bored. So Daniel took him off adventuring, and I think they just went down to a little creek and made boats out of bark and leaves and stuff, and just had the best time. But little things like that are very special memories now. I was so impressed with the kind of grown-up that Daniel was becoming. I first met him when he was just a preteen, and he was a goofball and a total original. When I first saw his bedroom, it was like a mashup of Led Zeppelin and anime and Iron Man and Kung Fu all mixed together. And I was like, who is this person? But this is someone very special. We all met right around the time I sort of became part of the family. We all met up down in Santa Fe, and I had this old mini camcorder, and it was before you could make movies on your cell phone. So we were walking around town with this, and Daniel was like narrating our walk like he was a host of a travel show or something. So I knew he was always a performer. I really enjoyed watching him become the person that he was meant to be. He was loyal and honorable man, intelligent and funny, and so loving and compassionate and accepting of people. And I just wish that my kids had more time with him. But we can make sure that we teach them the same lessons and teach them Daniel's story, this poem that he wrote. You've probably all read this. It's soft. I may always be a lover poem, but that is just the way these things go. I'm soft and I will always be soft. This world will never tame me. This world will never make me hard. So much in this world is designed to make us hard and to give hate an opportunity to creep in. When something like this happens, I want so badly to hate the person who stole Daniel from us, but I can't really. I hate the system that created them. And the irony is that Daniel dedicated his life to fighting against that system. I think the softness that he wrote about in that poem was love and compassion in spite of terrible things in the world. It was about keeping your heart open. Since I've known him, Daniel has been on a journey of self-discovery. He did the work, and he came to know his truth. And he was brave enough to live that. And that is such a powerful lesson, especially to anybody struggling with identity, which I think so many of us are, because it's kind of the point of life, is to get to know yourself. So I know that I will honor him by continuing to advocate for people living their truths and raising my kids to be compassionate and loving and accepting people. And people I know that he would be proud of. That's all I got. Thank you.
Kate, thank you for sharing. Have any other family members who want to come and share? Wyatt, come on up, bud.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wyatt. I knew Daniel first and foremost as a friend at the club before I knew him as a boyfriend, as a partner. And I say partner as, I say partner as partner in crime, partner at the bar, drag partner, partner going to movies, and hopefully the plan was to be partners in life. And, hello. Every time I would come to the bar and take a shot with Daniel, he was always a big Walt Whitman fan, and he loved the line, "We contain multitudes," because it's a truth evident in of itself. We all do contain multitudes. And I loved the Joni Mitchell line, "Into the multitudes," because that's what life really is a journey deep into those multitudes in which you contain. So we would do our fireball shots together, and we would toast to the multitudes. Another one of Daniel's favorite and heavily annotated poems in Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass was one that he would show me frequently. It was highlighted in yellow. And it is, "I am he that aches with love." It reads, "I am he that aches with amorous love. Does the earth gravitate? Does not all matter aching attract all matter? So the body of me to all I meet or know." Daniel attracted so much and so many. He was a soul as beautiful as a rare sapphire, and Daniel had the most unique way of looking at the world around him. We often went on hikes together, enjoying the sunshine. We'd wake up and say, "You know, it's a beautiful day, we should probably go out and go for a hike." And he was always upset when we never got around to it. And we would talk drama over the bar, or just catch up, or talk about other people, or talk about ourselves. But oftentimes we would catch each other just silently staring at the sky or at small things around us. I remember we passed a purple aster on the rock, and I said, "Look, there's an aster." And he said, "Aster, that's so close to my last name, Aston." And he crouched down with his phone and he took a picture of it. He always had those ways of appreciating small things. He also had an incredible and unique way of words. His way of speaking could entrance you, wrap you in his mind so closely, but if you got the chance to read any of his words, or if he crept out of his little shell and shared some with you, you truly knew the wonder that were his inner workings. He was a poet in the truest and most literal sense of the word, an appreciator of life, of all small things, a lover of everything and all, a romantic. He would notice the smallest things and swoon over them for hours, like his little mustache, which he would often re-dye. I would walk into the bathroom and have to clean up smeared mustache dye all over the place. But after swooning and thinking and dwelling, he would produce just the right words, short and sweet. He'd been working on compiling a series of his poetry into a few different bodies of work. This one I'd like to share is from his series of love poems, and it's titled Moment. Blue-green, out from under gold, a rose parted, unveiling pearl, the entire moment, an inhale, short and sweet. He found those little moments and can compile them into the most poignant words. I remember walking along a trail with him and telling him about how oftentimes I listen to the crickets. Sometimes during the day if there is one, but mostly at night. And if you listen closely, you can hear the crickets change symphony. They go from one pattern to a next, back to the other to a fourth, and then back again. And as I told him this story in the hot, blazing Colorado sun as we're walking down a trail in Palmer Park, I looked at him and he wiped a tear. And I said, "Are you crying because of crickets?" And he said, "Yes, but I'm also crying because I'm imagining you standing in a field listening to the crickets." We went to the Painted Mines out in Calhan on one of our first dates, and it was hot, so we took our shirts off, and I raised my arms to let my armpits dry off in the blowing wind. And he took a picture of me, and later he showed me this poem that he'd written, which exemplifies himself and his ways of appreciating the small little things. He wrote, "There's a beautiful boy at the end of the trail. There's a beautiful boy with his arms out, facing the wind out of the valley and the clay rock. He's wishing the world would notice him. He's wishing the world would know him. I'm wishing for more clouds so he can point to the sky and tell me which objects he thinks they look like. One thing I learned from him, and one thing I want to teach you all from him, is to never stop looking at the small flowers. Stop and take pictures of them. Don't ever stop listening to the crickets as well. Stop and notice their tempo change. But most importantly, something he loved every single time I did it. Don't ever stop looking at the clouds and pointing at them and telling someone what they look like. And if no one's there to listen to you, tell Daniel what they look like. He always loved that. Love you, Dan.
Microphones freak me out. Hopefully I can sound okay. My name is Dallas. I'm one of Daniel's many cousins. We have a very special tradition in our family where we stick together like nobody I've ever seen. We have 3 generations of cousins that laugh and love and cry and share life together, which is pretty special. And I would just like to share 2 things with you. One, some of you may have heard from the viewing. I shared this at the viewing, but also something else, and I'll talk about it first. My dad's favorite Beatle was George Harrison, and it's one of his most famous lines, but one that I think kind of embodies today, and that I want to kind of challenge you with a little bit is this too shall pass. Everybody in here, we've been to multiple funerals, and we've been through multiple tragedies. And this too shall pass. The sun will get a bit brighter, whatever normal used to, maybe less weird, but this too shall pass. And I just want to challenge all of us to keep the radiance and the love and the advocacy and the journey that Daniel so embodied. I want us to keep that going. Daniel had such a heart for helping others and championing others. And I think the best way that we can continue that legacy, that heart, that love, is that we continue to champion each other through these hard times, that we keep each other close, but also that we continue to kind of open our circles up a little bit, and that we champion others to be better, because that's what we're going to have to do. When we had the memorial at Trax a few weeks ago, we had lots of different public officials that came to speak, which was wonderful to have that attention and to make the story bigger and get out to more people. But a lot of the rhetoric was that we can't keep doing this. We can't have Pulse, we can't have Club Q, we can't have another one. And so in your darkest moments, I challenge you to kind of, channel the radiance. Daniel will be near to you if you ask him. He's been very near to a lot of us to get us through the last few weeks. Channel that radiance, bring his love, continue his love. When people make comments, say something. When people aren't living with that heart wide open, like Daniel did, say something. We have to be better, and we have to help others be better. That's the only way that any of this will ever make any kind of sense for any of us, is by seeing Daniel's change and Daniel's love and light in other places. And so I just want to share that with you. And then also just the family kind of thing that I shared at the viewing. For those of you that have been blessed with knowing Daniel in whatever capacity, a stiff drink, a good laugh, a compliment, his kindness was all the time. He was so good at just living in love all the time. Relationships and family and friends. those blue eyes that you see up there that we get to see, those are Mima eyes. And in the family, we kind of just coined this term recently, but I think we've all known about it for, what are we at, 5 generations? I'm a reading teacher, not a math. I don't know, I think there's 5 of us maybe. but those blue eyes come from Mima. And so the love and the snarkiness and the sassiness and the intelligence and wisdom and just all the things that were so amazing that Daniel embodied and shared with all of us, you know, that spark comes from Mima, so we call that the Mima magic. It's in all of us, you know. If you see all the relatives, you know, almost all of us have pretty similar eyes to those, and those eyes have been blessed to us by our Mima. Like I said, I think it's about 5 generations. She was a bootlegger. I know we got some cops in the room, sorry, officers. But you know, she was one tough lady, and she went through 5 husbands. I say went through because she would chew up and spit them out if they weren't good to her, if they weren't good to her kids, if they didn't do what she needed to do, she'd just find somebody better. And back in those days, you didn't really have 5 husbands. So just to kind of give you the vibe that I'm talking about when I see Mima magic, it's not just softness. I think each generation we've gotten a little softer, and Daniel really embodies that, and I'm glad that we have that poem to share, and Kate also shared that too with us, because Daniel embodied that softness, and each generation got a little bit more relaxed and a little bit softer. But you have all been touched by this Mima magic now, and I implore you to hold that tight on your darkest days, but also use that light and that love and that little snark. I know Daniel had a good sense of humor, play little tricks every once in a while, you know. But use that to go out into this world, and like I said, make us better, make each other better. We have to get this right, and we have to make this better. And there's just no 2 ways about that. So thank you so much for all the love and the outpouring for the family. It's been incredible to see just how many souls Daniel touched in 28 years, and just keep that magic alive for us and with us. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. These spotlights make it look like I'm speaking to a train. Hard to see. I see we have some of our dignitaries here. Thank you for being here. We have our Lieutenant Governor of Colorado, Diane Primavera. If you would please come on up.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here to celebrate Daniel's life, and I want to thank Daniel's family, specifically his parents, Jeff and Sabrina, for inviting me to be with all of you today. As a mom myself, I can imagine what you're going through. There's a palpable feeling in this room, and I can tell by just being here how loved Daniel was, by the pictures, by the words that have been spoken. There are a few people that we encounter throughout our lives who leave an indelible mark on us. Their presence lifts the room. Their joy is infectious. Just by being who they are, they inspire us to be better ourselves. By every account, Daniel was one of those people. Daniel's father, Jeff, described him as a unique, wonderful person with a good soul, and talked about how anytime Daniel would come to visit him and his mother, Sabrina, he would bring so much joy. They always felt better after a visit with Daniel. I bet each one of you in the room today has had a similar experience with Daniel. He left a unique mark on each of you, and though we mourn together, we are also here to celebrate the person that he was and the incredible life that he lived. Daniel was loved by everyone who met him, and remembered as the man with a bright smile and an even brighter blue eyes. He had this ability to create community wherever he went. This was true in Tulsa, it was true in Colorado Springs, and it was especially true at Club Q. He was unapologetically himself, and he worked to help others feel the same way about who they were. And he was so proud of the life he'd built around him. He had a family who loved him, a job he enjoyed, friends who loved and accepted him for who he was, and a partner, Wyatt, that he could plan a future with. And your words were really beautiful, Wyatt. His whole life was in front of him. Daniel was taken from us far too soon, but the way life is lost has nothing to do with the way it was lived. If we can honor his life, and if we can remember the man that he was and the joy that he brought, and if we can carry that forward in our own lives, then he can never truly be taken away. I want to close with a story that Daniel's father shared. The family was in the car, backing out of the driveway, and young Daniel was in his car seat in the back. It was a windy day, and as he was looking out the window, he said, "The trees are waving goodbye." That was just his imagination and his unique way of looking at the world, a perspective he carried with him throughout his life. We could all use a bit more of that optimism and creativity in our lives. And in Daniel's memory, I hope that each of us can look at the world a little bit more like he did. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have another song selection. "The Parting Glass" by the Clancy Brothers.
I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I had are sorry for my going, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call, good night and joy be with you. God bless.
Today's the first time for most of us, you and I, to meet. My name is Clifton Turner. I'm a local pastor of a small community church here, Life Church CS, a spirit-filled, non-denominational church. And sometimes you see me in the news. I also volunteer on the board for Mothers of Murdered Youth. For just a brief moment, I want to speak a word of comfort and hope, because it's the living who must deal with the reality of death. It's at these moments that we come face to face with our own mortality. And truly, words fall short. Hurt and loss are an unspeakable weight, and grief is virtually overwhelming. But memories are a blessing. The memories you've created make you smile, make you laugh, and yes, they can make you cry. But they can even overshadow the regret of words that may have been left unspoken. I never, ever take these moments lightly or half-heartedly. No matter how many times I find myself in this position, it never gets any easier, ever. Just a moment, this service will be over, and life moves on. But this precious family that is grateful for your words of comfort and your acts of kindness will need to know that your thoughts are with them. So however you like to communicate, I ask that you do. Card, text, email, whatever. Let them know that you're still thinking of them. And if you believe in prayer, that you're praying for them. However you like to express your love, your care, your concern, let it continue when life goes on. I did not know Daniel personally, but after talking the other evening with Mr. Jeff and Sabrina and Ben and Judy and Fiona, man, time flew. I thought I was there just for about maybe an hour, and it was like 2 hours. Sorry if I made you miss supper. I guess I was hoping you would have invited me to stay and eat. You know how us Cajuns are. I learned a few things about Daniel. I learned that his favorite colors is red and black. So I made sure to break out my red and black tie. I made sure to break out my red and black animal socks. Details matter. They make us who we are. Let us express ourselves and let people express themselves, and we connect. I learned and heard about the blue eyes. I learned that he's a singer, musician, just like Dad. I learned in high school that he could debate, that he is a performer ever since little. Back in Oklahoma at Mayfest, and he Club Q. Now, Club Q, I understand he had a tendency for the 80s hair bands. As a kid, he loved to wrestle. Loved to wrestle with Dad. And always laughed at Dad's corny dad jokes, too. He loved movies. He liked Star Trek, the next generation Star Trek. He loved SpongeBob, and he loved T-shirts. He loved Iron Man action figure. I saw the Spock still in the box. When he was younger, he loved Led Zeppelin. Then he took a liking to Lady Gaga. And he loved Mexican food. He loved animals. He had fish, gecko, a dog named Dexter, cats, a white German shepherd named Finn. Oh, and I got to meet the latest beloved pet, a parakeet blind in one eye. Daniel knew that when he saw him and felt sorry for him. Take him home. Take care of him. Never guessed his name, Patchy. That parakeet's 9 years old. Daniel took good care of him. Shows me Daniel's kind-hearted. Loving and sensitive, a fun person to be around, always smiling. Taking up for others, caring for others, and a good listener. Before moving to Colorado from Louisiana, I was a youth pastor there for 20 years. Probably a world record, I think. And I learned we got 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should listen twice as much as we talk. Being a good listener, it's a good foundation for being a good communicator. And I hear that repeatedly about Daniel. I believe Daniel got one of life's most important principles right. Love people and use things instead of loving things and using people. We should not be here today. And I'm fighting hard to keep my emotions in check so that I can finish officiating. I want you to know I see you. And I see you with and through eyes of love. No judgment, no condemnation, no self-righteousness. I see you as my neighbor, my fellow citizen. I was taught a principle early about the word kiss. Oh, and I know where you're going. We always heard it described as keep it simple, stupid. I don't like it described like that. I'd rather say, keep it sincerely simple. Love is the foundation and the motivation of everything. And I will treat everyone the way I want to be treated, with love and respect, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter your beliefs, no matter any detail about your life. No one should ever live in fear where they call home. Daniel, everything I've heard, what I've seen, he had a gift of communicating and being sensitive to others and helping them. We do live in a complicated world, but we can keep it simple. Simple don't make it easy. Just means we have to be intentional, because we won't get it right accidentally. I wish I had all the answers to your questions, but I don't. Sometimes it's easier to live with the question rather than the answer, because you can't make sense out of nonsense. And what happened, to say the least, is nonsense and cannot and will not be tolerated. Today we honor and remember the life of Daniel Davis Aston. With some blue eyes. He is loved by you all, known as family and friend. He has lived in your hearts, and he will forever live in your heart. We talk about the reality and the sting of death. Let me tell you what death cannot do. Death cannot cripple love. Death cannot shatter hope. It cannot corrode faith. It cannot eat away peace. It cannot destroy confidence. Death cannot kill friendship. Death cannot shut out memories. It cannot silence courage. It cannot invade the soul. And I know we're in such a habit always saying Daniel was loved, or Daniel was this and was that. I know that Daniel's life, as we are used to interacting with him, has changed. But that doesn't mean that you no longer love Daniel. So Daniel was loved. Daniel is still loved. The relationship you have with Daniel has not changed. The circumstance has changed. Our habits have to change some, but death feels so final, but it's temporary. We're spirit beings. We live forever. Death cannot kill what cannot die. How you and I find death is not nearly as important as how we found life. And Daniel found life, loved it, and lived it. It feels like we're in the land of the living, moving to the land of the dying, but rather, I believe it's just the opposite. We're in the land of the dying, moving to the land of the living. When we exit this world, we leave behind all that we have, and we take with us all that we are. Today, you release what was and make room for what shall be, testifying in our minds that life does not end, it merely continues in another realm. You say goodbye today to your physical focus of your relationship with Daniel, but you retain your memories of him in your heart. and your mind. Today you release what has been the very human dramas of your love for Daniel, your shared stories, your shared histories. But yet you open your heart today that your relationship with Daniel will transition with the memories that you've created, and they'll still be a blessing to you, and you share them with one another. What a loss. Absolutely. And what a wonderful moment today to honor Daniel's life and your love for him. There's never an occasion in life in which everything's lost. There's always something and someone left. I do not know how you feel. I have not laid a son to rest, a daughter, a child, a nephew, a cousin, a lover. And even if I had, I wouldn't dare assume I know how you're feeling. Well, I can tell you that I care. I care, and I've been praying, and I've been up late thinking over this service and thinking about you all. And my heart aches for you. And my prayer is that your grief might move through you gently. Don't just get busy and think that that's dealing with what you're feeling. That is not. You have to deal with it. Get you a support system, family, friends, counselor, something. And it is a journey. It will never be okay. It will never make sense. It never gets better. Time does not heal all wounds. Wounds heal naturally, but how you do the healing process will determine the reconciliation of that healing so that you can be healthy as you move forward. Because things will not be the same. And what I mean by that is this moment in life will make us harder or it will make us softer. Kate, I saw that poem at the house. I may always be a lover poem, but that is just the way these things go. I am soft, and I will always be soft. This world will never tame me. This world will never make me hard. Meekness is not weakness. Life either leaves us bitter or better. The same sun that hardens clay is the same sun that softens butter. So the choice is ours. And oh, I feel the emotions like you do. I would like quick, swift justice. And I would volunteer. I'm human too. But I want to stay soft. Love is greater than hate. And that is how we overcome. That's what we would call around here, absolutely, Colorado. So I pray that what we're feeling of this sorrow stretches our hearts so that more love will flow in and out of us and toward one another. I know there are more ways to know Daniel than just by the sense of this physical world. And I pray your heart and eyes stay open. In many ways, he will come to you, and your memories will bless you. I'm going to close with a poem before we have a final song. When I am gone, release me and let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You mustn't tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that we had this many years. I gave you my love. You can only guess how much you gave me in happiness. I thank you for the love you each have shown. But now it's time I traveled on alone. So grieve a while for me, if grieve you must. Then let your grief be comforted by trust. It's only for a while we must part, so bless the memories that lie within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on. So if you need me, call on the one to whom I've gone, and I will come. Though you can't see me or touch me, in memory I'll be near. And if you listen with your heart, you will hear all of my love around you, soft and clear. And then when you must come this way alone, I'll greet you with a smile and welcome home. We have a final song selection. Danny Boy by Johnny Cash.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. From glen to glen and down the mountainside. The valley's hushed and white with snow. I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But if you come and all the flowers are dying and I am dead, as dead I will may be. You'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I will know, though soft ye tread above me, and then my grave will richer, sweeter be. And you'll bend down and tell me that you love me, and I will rest in peace until you come to me.
On behalf of Aston family, thank you all so much for taking the time to be here today. And those who are watching the live stream, I'm sure there are many others who would have loved to make it, but were not able. Thank you to our dignitaries that are here today, representing our great city. Thank you for your words of comfort and your acts of kindness. At this time, we're going to escort the family to their private reception, and then our funeral director will begin to dismiss you all in an orderly fashion. Thank you. And our hearts are with you and our thoughts are with you.